my Creole belle. I love her well, my darling baby, my Creole belle, my Creole belle. I love her well, my darling baby, my Creole belle. When stars shine, I'll make her mine, my darling baby, my Creole belle, my Creole belle. I love her well, my darling baby, my Creole belle. My Creole belle, I love her well, my darling baby, my Creole belle, my Creole belle. I love her well, my darling baby, my Creole belle. Oh, Miss Collins weep, Miss Collins moan to see her son Louis leaving home. The angels laid him away. The angels laid him away. They laid him 6 feet under the clay. The angels laid him away. Ah, Louis shot one, yes, and Bob, he shot two. He shot, poor Louis shot him through and through. The angels laid him away. The angels laid him away. They laid him 6 feet under the clay. The angels laid him away. Oh, kind friends, ain't it hard to see poor Louis in a new graveyard? The angels laid him away. The angels laid him away. Laid him 6 feet under the clay. The angels laid him away. That's right. Thanks for coming out to Soul Food Books. Brian's here, and I'm going to do a bunch of songs in his direction. Because that's just the way things go, because I've known him since the long, misty nights of Pioneer Square a long time ago. When I go by Baltimore, I need no carpet on my floor. Come along, go with me, and we'll go see what we can see. Green Rocky Road, promenade in green. Who do you love and who do you love? Now you see that bird up in the sky. You wonder how she could get so high. She don't walk, she don't run, but she just flies until her traveling's done. Green Rocky Road. So when I go by Baltimore, I need no carpet on my floor. Come along, go with me, and we'll go see what we can see. Green Rocky Road, promenade in green. Who do you love and who do you love? The way the clouds come down so low, sometimes you need to prowl around the alleyways and get into the side streets. And all the world goes soft, and the hard lines disappear, and the echo of the footsteps, well, that's the music in your ear. And the sing-song river runs all along that little crack. I've been all around the world, and I keep coming back. Now the big boats come to the dockside to tie off and unload, and they stay a little while. You gotta bridle that Saturday Liberty night. You gotta do it upright. You gotta do it in style. Yes, you do. Maybe hear a little music. Can I have this next dance? Maybe fall in love if I get half a chance. Somebody like you, yes indeed. Imagine that. I've been all around the world and I keep coming back. First time I rode a bus to pick me up hitchhiking, took me clear across town. I said, I ain't got no money, said that's all right, friend, just get on board, lay your burden down. He said, where you going? I said, I have no idea, but this looks pretty good, I'll get off here. And I went off walking with my guitar across my back. I've been all around the world and I keep coming back. Now I rode that Fremont Bridge so high one time I could have scratched old Mr. Moon right in the chin. I took a look at the water in the canal down. Around the world and I keep coming back. We have almost as many empty chairs as there are people standing. We have actually more empty chairs than there are people standing. You can take that whatever way you want. Some people like to come in and just look at the empty chairs. There's something romantic and even idyllic about an empty chair. It's unspoiled, it's not owned. And then again, song about being homesick. Everybody's been homesick at one time or another. And the person in this song is homesick for my heart is in the mountains, my soul is in the land. I can't stay another day. There's an emptiness inside of me. I feel too much loneliness out here. There's another place I've got to be. Another place I've got to be. I long for you, Dakota. Smell of sweet grass in the plains. I see too much meanness. I feel too much pain. Quiet desperation coming over me. Coming over me. I gotta leave, I can't stay another day. There's an emptiness inside of me. I feel too much loneliness out here. There's another place I've got to be. Another place I've got to be. kind of follow these by unspoken logic, if you don't mind. That was written by Floyd Westerman. This. You don't like Floyd Westerman? You're too young to have that much of a reaction to Floyd Westerman. Some older people do that when they hear his name. Oh, now. Goodness. Oh, it's a preference sort of a thing, I know. If she was singing, you'd probably listen to everything, wouldn't you? And all the songs would be good, wouldn't they? If Mom was singing. That was a Floyd Westerman song. This is a Merle Haggard song. Utilizes capo number 3, which only covers 3 strings. Merle was kind of a wild youth. That is to say that he was constantly getting in trouble and being put away. And then he would break out. You know, it'd be robbing grocery stores and joyriding and that sort of thing. Finally, after about 7 times going to juvenile hall and breaking out and being caught and being put back in again, they sent him off to the big house, San Quentin. In San Quentin, he operated a still in his room. He was there when Johnny Cash came to play, and the light bulb started to go into that head of his. But the point of that whole story is that the last time he broke out of juvenile hall, before they put him away in the big one, he had to swim the Kern River, which makes this song a lot more interesting than it was before I found that out. I'll never swim Kern River again. That's where I met her and that's where I lost my best friend. So now I live in the mountains, I drifted up here with the wind. I may drown in still waters, I never swim Kern River again. Well, I was raised in an oil town, but my gusher never came in. And the river was a boundary where my darling and I used to swim. One night by the moonlight, swiftness swept her life away. So now I live in Lake Shasta. Lake Shasta is where I will stay. There's the South San Joaquin where the seeds of the Dust Bowl are found. And there's a place called Mount Whitney from where the mighty Kern River runs down. Oh, it's not deep nor wide, but it's a mean piece of water, my friend. I may cross on the highway, I'll never swim Kern River again. I'll never swim Kern River again. best friend. So now I live in the mountains, I drifted up here with the wind. I may drown in still waters, I never swim current or river again. Never swim current river again. That's where I met her, and that's where I lost my best friend. So now I live in the mountains, I drifted up here with the wind. I may drown in still waters, I never swim current river again. My father was a NASA engineer, you know, the space programs. My mother was a school secretary when she was able to, once that my brother and me stopped being complete disasters. And I grew up in the white suburban middle class neighborhoods of Cupertino, which is a little, I think of it as a hangnail to San Jose. Although hangnail kind of makes it sound like it might be rough and tumble. It wasn't really. Although you have to remember, heavy metal is a white suburban teenager music. White suburban teenager art form. It is not really inner city, it's the suburbs. So there was plenty of danger to go around for everybody, I suppose. My main goal in life at a certain point was to get dirty. And I'm not joking, I'm not making that up to sound funny. I wanted to get dirty and get torn. Because there wasn't nothing happening around where I was. Originally I was going to be like a scientist of some kind or a mathematician. I loved math. I loved geometry. Things got weird, and I just kind of fell off the edge of the table of life, you know, and I hung there by a piece of dried chewing gum that somebody before me had stuck under the edge of the table of life. And I didn't know what to do or how to go about it to get any reality in anything. You know, my parents and I, we used to go on trips, and one time, sitting in the back of the car, I had my little transistor radio up to my head, and I listened to R&B stations, rhythm and blues, because we're talking like 1962, 63, 64, back in there. And it was pretty, it was a wasteland, let's say. I mean, you could hear Pat Boone, that's it. You know, it's funny from a distance, but up close it wasn't funny at all. But on the R&B stations, you could hear Jimmy Reed. That's right, Jimmy Reed. Big boss man, can't you hear me when I call? You ain't so big, you just tall, that's all. Now that is a good line. That's a class-conscious song if I ever heard one. And John Lee Hooker singing boom, 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 gonna shoot you right down. And the original version of It's All Over Now, I used to love it, but It's All Over Now, the original version was by the Valentinos, not the Rolling Stones. Rolling Stones took it, made a hit out of it, and their manager their record company paid all the money necessary to stop the radio stations from playing the Valentinos, and that's not a joke. So if you wanted to hear that song, you had to hear the Rolling Stones do it. That That was a hard one to take because I liked that Valentino song and I did not like that Rolling Stones. But it was on that radio station, one of those radio stations, KSOL or KDIA. KSOL. Sly Stone was the disc jockey on that one. That's right, before he was a rock star. But it was on one of those radio stations that I first heard a song about Santa Claus with his beard hanging on his face. I'll never forget it. And right away I thought, now wait a minute, your beard doesn't hang on your face, it grows out of your skin. What the hell is this hang on your face? Yeah, but if you're not a real bearded man, if you're dressing up for Christmas, then your beard hangs on your face. And the singer was a man named Lightning Hopkins. That's what the guy said. I waited around till he said it. As soon as we got home, I got on my bicycle and I just started running around going to record stores in Cupertino, California. They had no idea what I was looking for, but I found them. I did. No one could sing the blues like Lightning Hopkins. I don't care what anybody said. I was 15 years old, riding by the passenger window with my radio up against my head. And that's when I heard him for the first time, cutting in through the noise of the car. And my whole world turned upside down. I just had to learn to sing and play guitar. So I got on my bicycle with a high-rise handlebars, and I would ride for 20 miles on a run. I got every one of his records I could find back then. Had 11 of them by the time I was done. And I never learned to play the blues. I hope that's alright. I never learned to play the blues, but I could sing and play guitar all night. Now years later up in Seattle town, Lightning came through playing 3 nights in a row. I caught up with him early in the dressing room. Somehow I just had to let him know. So I took out my guitar and I started playing. And I made him up a song to tell it right about the radio, the car, and all of his records, and how glad I was to meet him that night. And I sang about what he taught me without even knowing it, and all the lessons I still had to learn. And Lightning, he just grinned. When I was done, he told me a story in return. And I never learned to play the blues. I hope that's alright. I never learned to play the blues, but I can sing and play guitar all night. Now this is what he told me. He said he was walking around the backwoods down in Texas one time when he was only 12 years old. He was carrying his guitars almost as big as he was. He was tired, hungry, and cold. He saw some people were having a picnic, and he asked if he could sing for his meal. They turned him away, he said, because he was too raggedy. He could still remember how it made him feel. Then he looked off into the distance through his dark sunglasses, and he grinned a little more just for chance. He said, now I got money in the bank back home, and they know who I am in France. And I never learned to play the blues. I hope that's alright. I never learned to play the blues, but I can sing and I can play guitar all night. Now Lightning died back in '82. I can still remember where I was and how I heard. I was playing the meeting place in Dublin. The local blues singer gave me the word. Now some people, they pass right through you. Yes, and maybe they leave a little mark. Some people shine like a light for you sometimes. Help you find your way when it gets dark. They said that this world is made of stories. From these stories our songs are grown. Sometimes, you know, the songs just get so big, you have to go out and make a song of your own. And I never learned to play the blues. I hope that's alright. I never learned to play the blues, but I can sing and play guitar all night. That's right. That's exactly right. That took place in the Fresh Air Tavern, which is up on. You remember the Fresh Air, Brian? Broadway and Pike. I played there every night of the week, 5 nights of the week, maybe you'd say. Something like that. It fell in my lap. I was able to play before all the bands started. They had everybody in there. Tower Power, John Lee Hooker, Thelonious Monk, Charles Lloyd played in there, man. 1971. He had a bass player with a big purple afro in 1971. Now nobody would give it a second glance. Then it was like, Jesus Christ, did you see his hair? Well, the first time I played in there, a couple of members of Harvey Mandel's band saw me the night before and said, we want you to come and play every night before we start. Open the show. And that was my in. That's what I wanted, because I wanted to get in there. So, you know, I was making up a lot of songs in those days. I was singing some and I was making some up. The bouncer was a great big guy named Joe. Joe came up to me second night or third night I was in there and said, hey, Jimmy. He had a deep voice. I want you to sing a song about my little brother, Jesse. He's here tonight. He's going to be taking over for me because I'm quitting. Jesse, you got that? I said, yeah, I got that, Joe. So I got on stage and I sang a song about Jesse, how I'd known him for a very long time, and he was a good old friend of mine. Then I went around passing my hat, and this little bitty fella, wearing a red, white, and blue fringed vest, American flag fringed vest, stood up. He's only about 5'4". He stood up and he leaned forward and he said, hey, I'm Jesse. How do you know me? I said, I've known you for a long time. You just didn't know I knew you. He looked at me, and I finished passing my hat. And from that night on, he treated me like we'd been old friends. And it was very cool. He had 4 or 5 brothers and 3 or 4 sisters. One of them I liked particular. His father was a boxing promoter. Jesse was a boxer. He was a Golden Gloves boxer. Vietnam veteran, Navy. And a member of a small micro motorcycle fraternity called the Third Rail. I guess that's about all you need to know. Jesse died last summer. You know, and if you get lucky enough to live long enough, I hate to say it like this, but you see a lot of that. So this is for Jesse. A better friend you never had. Big brother, dear old dad. Man about town. Wheels rolling round. Back in the old fresh air. Seemed like everybody was there. Harvey Mandel and Sugar Cane. Now it'll never be the same. There he is. And there he goes. There he is. ones you love, and for the golden gloves, and on across town trail, riding around with the third rail, and all the boys in blue sure like to get their hands on you. There he is, and there he goes. There he is, and there he goes. I used to sleep on the couch with your scooter on the floor. I guess I won't be doing that anymore. Everything smelled like dogs and motor oil. It was an oasis in the world of turmoil. Getting old or slowing down. You get a job downtown. You're working the longshore, just like your brother before. Going out for one last fling. Oh, the songs we could sing, all about you and your buddy John John. Now those days are long gone. There he is, and there he goes. There he is, there he goes. The girls stand up on the sidelines and they cry. Even the Iron Man gets a tear in his eye. So raise your glass and drink a toast to whoever it is that you love. I'm on my way. Every step is a brand new day. Yeah, life is good. It's going by just like it should. Yes, in this old town, sure got some stories to hold it down. And I know they broke the mold. When this story got told, I know they broke the mold. When this story got told. That's right. He held that truth like a fistful of lightning, put it out in the world and he let it go. And it went viral out into cyberspace until nobody could say that they didn't know. And what you don't know can kill you. The truth will get you arrested. And what you don't know can kill you. Should have seen him popping off shots in the helicopter as it hovered overhead. Should have seen the figures on the ground duck and run for cover, tangled in the wounded and the dead. It wasn't like they said it was going to be. There were no heroes in the white hats. And those people on the ground, they weren't even soldiers, they were civilians. What do you think about that? But what you don't know can kill you. The truth will get you arrested. But what you don't know can kill you. The truth will get you arrested. They came for Bradley Manning, put him in a little white room, the light was always on. locked the door behind and they said, we're going to give you justice until the justice is all gone. And what you don't know can kill you. The truth will get you arrested. And what you don't know can kill you. The truth will get you arrested. Get you arrested. Secrets are the fuel to run the big machine. Secrets are the poison of our history. Secrets are a coward, they don't like to be seen. They hide in mystery, in mystery. And what you don't know can kill you. The truth will get you arrested. And what you don't know can kill you. The truth will get you arrested. They say that history is written by the victors who define it and then they nail it down. Yeah, but history is a wheel and wheels spin around. You can't hide away forever, you know, sooner or later somebody's gonna see. And Bradley Manning blew the whistle, and that makes him a hero to me. What you don't know can kill you. The truth will get you arrested. But what you don't know can kill you. The truth will get you arrested. Get you arrested. Get you arrested. Thank you. If the sound is good, it's his fault. I think the sound is good. It sounds really good up here. I'm going to sing two songs that I throw together because I wrote them at the same time. I actually used my old laptop to do this. I should have used a piece of paper and a pencil. But I opened up two screens and had them right side by side, and I wrote both songs at the same time because what I wanted to do was tell the story of Andras Rea, who was basically a PTSD survivor. I guess he wasn't a survivor, was he? But his PTSD blew up on him in California, in Ceres, California, which is just attached to Stockton, I think. Maybe it's Modesto, but I think it's Stockton. So I wanted to, in order to focus in on Andras and make sure that that PTSD thread ran through there, I had to write a song about just PTSD. So I did them at the same time, back and forth, and worked them out. So I'll throw them together and go like this. Well, I just came home with a head full of pictures and I can't say. They wake me up screaming in the middle of the night and make them go away. And I might start drinking, I might not stop, I might cross over that line. I just wanna get drunk and stay that way all the time. I'm walking around with a head full of pictures and you don't wanna know. Hanging in the air right in front of my face everywhere I go. And I might start doping, I might not stop, I might cross over that line. I just wanna get numb, stay that way all the time. should have pictures in the head like I do. Nobody should have pictures in the head like me. Giving back to the people that wanted this war. I don't want to see him anymore. Now I'm living my life with a head full of pictures from now on. And I can't make love to the world anymore 'cause they're too strong. I might get crazy, I might not stop, I might cross over that line, and I might do something I might regret sometime. Who gave me this head full of pictures? Well, I think I know. Some big shot sitting in a padded chair where the money's on flow, and I might start thinking, I might not stop, I might cross over that line, and I might do something about it sometime. Nobody should have pictures in the head like I do. Nobody should have pictures in the head like me. Giving back to the people that wanted this war. I don't want to see him anymore. He was raised in an orchard in a California town where the military ticket was the best deal around. They'll give you a skill and a pat on the back, maybe even a parade if you make it back. His mother was proud of him. She cried when she said goodbye. His father was proud of him too. There was a tear in his eye. His friends from the camp, well, they all gathered round. Somebody finally made it out of this town. Some people have all the chances and some people have none. Lay down your burden where the river runs. Reason and morality, you can't put them both aside. Flowers for Andres Rea in the alley where he leaving on that day when the world went strange, coming back home and something had changed. Everybody said there was a stranger in his eyes. There were nightmares and dreams and a rage that had to rise. He cried to his mother with those tears all down his face, saying you have no idea what goes on in that place. There's something broken, something lost beyond repair, and I'd rather die before I go back there. Some people have all the chances and some people have none. Lay down your burden where the river runs. Reason and morality, you can't put them both aside. Flowers for Andres Rea in the alley where he No one will ever know who gave that last command, but one day there he was with a rifle in his hand, with a shattered reality cracking like a whip on his back, and the streets of hometown looking like the streets of Iraq. Look across the field, see the enemy closing in. It's just the local police, but don't look that way to him. Take a good position, let the firefight begin. 200 rounds later, two dead, him and one of them. chances and some people have none. Lay down your burden where the river runs. Reason and morality, you can't put them both aside. Flowers for Andres Rea in the alley where he died. He served his last tour of duty in the town that he grew up in, fighting a war that nobody could win. Like a marionette on a slippery wire, he was killed in the alley by enemy fire. Now some people only want answers that are easy to take, nothing so hard that the bubble might break. There are questions to ask and there are answers to decide, and there are flowers in the alley where Andres Rea died. Some people have all the chances and some people have none. Lay down your burden where the river runs. Reason and morality, you can't put them both aside. Flowers for Andres Rea in the alley where he died. In the alley where he died. Thank you. There. Usually what I do is I just play straight through. You know that. Is that okay, Brian? Because that's usually what I do. I just play straight through till, because it's only a 2-hour gig. You know, I've only got an hour. I've only played an hour. It seems like I just warmed up. You don't mind if I think we can hang out a little bit afterwards or something? Okay. I don't need to look at that. That's my watch. I haven't had a watch in years. Got to change the subject a little bit, you know. Can't stay there all the time. You go mad. That means he has to go to the toilet. Brian's my psychiatrist. He doesn't show up at all the gigs, but every once in a while, you know, to see how I'm doing. The song was written by Jesse Bernstein. I love this song. I call it Somebody's Looking for Their Voice. That's what I've always called it. But there's a YouTube of Jesse doing the song. And it was filmed by a guy named Frank Video, who, if I'm... What am I hearing? Anyway, if I'm not mistaken, it's the same Frank Video who is not Nick, maybe Nick Licata's aide. I think Nick Licata's aide, either Nick Licata, one of the city council people. And it's fascinating that his last name should be Video and he has a YouTube channel. But I bring that up because he filmed Jesse doing the song just in his apartment. And he calls it Hope to Live. Well, it will be from now on a song with two names. A child is practicing it's too sloppy to be sure. Like someone's trying to get out of that building, but the feet are nailed to the floor. And it's a beautiful thing, yes it is. It's a thing that gives me hope to live. Somebody is looking for their voice through an open window with their supper on a stove. It's a sound you can't hear out on the street, humming and tapping at a beat, like someone whose life gives no reason, making up a reason of their own. And it's a beautiful thing, yes it is. It's a thing that gives me hope to live. Somebody is looking for their voice through an open window with their supper on a stove. A man is shadowboxing in a doorway. With his eyes closed, I know he's gonna win. He's kicking the trash out of the way. He goes down, but he always comes back up again. And it's a beautiful thing, yes it is. It's a thing that gives me hope to live. Somebody is looking for their voice through an open window with their supper on a stove. And a woman is standing at the bus stop. She's yelling that the city is on fire. The cops come looking clumsy and disgusted. Everything they tell her, she says they are a liar. And it's a beautiful thing, yes it is. It's a thing that gives me hope to live. Somebody is looking for their voice through an open window with their supper on a stove. Now everybody is stuck inside the buildings. The ruins that we leave may last forever. And though everything we say may be forgotten, there's something that connects us like a river. And it's a beautiful thing, yes it is. It's a thing that gives me hope to live. Somebody is looking for their voice through an open window with their supper on a stove. And it's a beautiful thing, yes it is. It's a thing that gives me hope to live. Somebody is looking for their voice through an open window with their supper on a stove. Somebody is looking for their voice through an open window with their supper on a stove. Yeah, that's a good one. After all of these years, stumbling in the blind alleys, being fodder for a fall. I must have thought I was eternal, the way I spun my wheels. Oh, but this time is different. This time is for real. And more than anything else in the world, anything else in the world, more than anything else in the world, I can't let you down. I can't let you down. When I was much younger and I was on my roll, I gave my life away in pieces like it was out of my control. Illusions of reality, how they whisper in a double talk. Oh, but this time I make my move, I'll know which way to walk. And more than anything else in the world, anything else in the world, more than anything else in the world, I can't let you down. I can't let you down. They say that life is like a river. I think they might be right. I know the shadowy illusions disappear in the light. All things are possible now. The future is in view. And when today becomes tomorrow, well, I will think of you. And more than anything else in the world, more than anything else in the world, more than anything else in the world, I can't let you down. I can't let you down. And more than anything else in the world, more than anything else in the world, more than anything else in the world, I can't let you down. I can't let you down. And this is capo number 4. Capo number 4 goes right on up here. If I can get that bass, you see. And this goes out to Sam up in Vancouver if she's watching. I don't know. She might be, she might not. If you are, here you go. And the rain blows against my window pane. And then the thunder comes and the daylight wanes. But it's only the weather changing as the wheel spins. And I know that when it gets dark like this, it's gonna get light again. And the sunrise makes the east get red. And when it's time to go, sets down in the west instead. Like the arc of a lifetime, as it rises up to fly, in our great imaginations, constellations in the sky. same big rock and I let it drop. And by the time I figured out whose foot was underneath, it was too late to stop. And as I get older now, I think back to when I was young, and how hard it was to get over some silly, stupid thing I'd done. Always trying to live up to something I could never be. Always trying to be somebody else, somebody other than me. But all my skies turn blue now. All the fences open to let me in. Seems like there's nothing I couldn't do now, thanks to you, my friend. And the rain blows out my windows, hoping I don't get wet. And I don't care which way the wind blows, 'cause it ain't caught me yet. Turn on my collar and I go for a stroll. I roll it up and I let it unroll, just like a wheel when it spins, thanks to you, my friend. Oh, yes. Amazing how this stays in tune sometimes. So this is a true story. You travel around, Brian, this is for you. I found this story when I was in Ireland about, 10 years ago, something like that. Out in Doolin. They have a lot of good traditional music out there, and I was hanging around for a couple of days, There's only like 4 bars. There's 32 people in town. They have 4 bars. And, a lot of music. And so there I was. And I woke up one morning and I read the local paper. And there was a story in there about how people were giving honor to the famine time, the people that fell in the famine time. And they were recreating a walk that had happened when Irish people had walked from Doolin area. I believe they walked from there, but anyway, they walked to the house of a wealthy landlord asking for assistance. And they were turned away, empty-handed, to go back home. And the pathway, the trail that they walked, went along the top of a cliff by the ocean. And there was a bad storm. And people were actually blown off the cliff onto the rocks below and killed. So it was a really, really bad time, really hard time. So, anyway, the story about the kind of honoring walk that they were doing caught my attention because it said that Choctaw Indian people from America were coming over to walk with them. And I was very curious about that. So I did a little digging and I came up with this story. All good friends of mine are the heroes and survivors of a terrible time. Two great peoples, separated by the sea, joined in understanding of a great calamity. Oh, great calamity. darkest of their years, Andrew Jackson drove the Choctaw on the Trail of Tears with a saber and the rifle on a 1,000-mile drive to the land of Oklahoma. Only half would survive. Only half would survive. They called a reservation. It was a cage without a wire. What 100 years later the Germans would admire, surrounded by a state that held the lock and key to the vision of their future and their free humanity. Oh, free humanity. Half a world away in the emerald Irish land, famine stalked the countryside with doom on every hand. Starvation, desperation, driven to extremes, they died eating grass, their mouths stained with green. Oh, their mouths stained with green. And it was the British Empire that held the lock and key to their island reservation and their free humanity across the hungry countryside. They walked a trail of tears through death and emigration. Half the people disappeared. Half the people disappeared. News travels fast when it goes from hand to hand all across the mighty ocean to the Oklahoma land. And when the Choctaw heard the story of the Irish in their plight, they knew they were related, though their skins were red and white. Oh, their skins were red and white. Though their hands were nearly empty and their lands were nearly bare, they collected all the money that they could spare, and they sent it off to Ireland. Their unknown new friends, $700. It was a fortune to them then. It was a fortune to them then. Now you may wonder at my story. You may marvel at its worth, but I tell you there is goodness in the people of the earth. And I tell you there is beauty in the darkest of the days, and a light to come shining, blow the darkness all away. Blow the darkness all away. Thanks. And I'm going to do this on the heels of that. This is an Irish song. I learned this from the singing of Christy Moore. It's a beautiful thing. Flying column in 1960. In Cork with Sean Mylan, to Tipperary went Dan Breen. Now I'm arrested by free staters, and I'm sentenced to die. Farewell to Tipperary, said the gaudy mountain boy. across the valleys and over the hilltops green, where we met with Danny Lacey, Sean Hogan and Dan Breen. Sean Milan and his gallant men, they kept the flag flying high. Farewell to Tipperary, said the Gaunty Mountain boy. We tracked the Wicklow Mountains, we were rebels on the run. And though hunted night and morning, we were outlaws but free men. We tried the Dublin Mountains when the sun was shining high. Farewell to Tipperary, said the Gaunty Mountain farewell to old Clonmel that I never more will see, and to the Gaulty Mountains that oft-times sheltered me. Those are ones who fought for their liberty and who died without a sigh. May the cause be ne'er forgotten, said the Gaunty. Thank you. I've been doing these gigs out at the airport. It's really fun. You know, you get, what is that? Are you carrying a chicken? A rabbit? It's a unicorn. Oh, I'm supposed to have a tip jar somewhere. I forgot all about that. Whoever is in charge of the jars. Anyway, it's really fun. They pay you a little stipend, not much. And then they let you collect tips and sell CDs. And it's just really fun to go out there and play with people that are from New Jersey and aren't expecting it. Australia, and had no idea you would be there. To see people brighten up because there's a guitar player on the middle of the concourse. Thank you. And I sing this song out there. The song is called Mae Nung. And Mae Nung is a little town in Taiwan. Taiwan, of course, is a tropical island. It is disputed territory. I've been to Taiwan twice. First time I went to Mae Nung and I wrote this song. The second time I just stayed in Taipei. I was doing gigs, you know. But I flew out of SeaTac and I flew back. And I think to myself, one of these days I'm going to go out there and I'm going to sing this song, and somebody from Mae Nung is going to hear it. That will be a trip. In Mae Nung, in the valley of the butterfly, time doesn't go very fast. Things just seem to last. In Mae Nung, I saw a butterfly dance like a butterfly does. made me think about how clumsy I was. And Menon, I saw a man on a bicycle balancing a load of wood. His balance was that good. And Menon, I saw a family of 5 on a motor scooter going out for a drive. And Menon, and it's a big round world. Yes, it is all around the world. It's a big round world. Yes, it is all around the world. In Menon, there was a temple on the hillside. I prayed to the Buddha for the flower to open up wide. In Menon, I drank the good strong ginger tea, and it agreed with me. In Menon, everything grew, tomato and a pepper and a beetle nut too. In Menon, I ate the green grass, the fish and the squid, and everybody else did too. In Menon, and it's a big round world. Yes, it is all around the world. It's a big round world. Yes, it is all around the world. That's right. In Menon, there was a melon so sweet and juicy on my sweater, something like an apple, only better. In Menon, the sun flew by on a butterfly breeze, a ricochet wing way up in the trees. In Menon, my spirit got lighter and my head got clear. I thought to myself, I'm gonna stay right here in Menon. In Menon, and it's a big round world. Yes, it is all around the world. It's a big round world. Yes, it is all around the world. In Menon, all around the circle eternity flows, but after a while you gotta go, I suppose. In Menon, everybody's got a home and I got mine. And don't say goodbye, say see you next time in Menon. In Menon, and it's a big round world. Yes, it is all around the world. It's a big round world. Yes, it is all around the world. Oh, it's a big round world, yes it is, all around the world. It's a big round world, yes it is, all around the world. That's right. Youngerman was raised on a family farm, with the love of the land in the morning and the muscle in his arm. Out on the China Ocean, on the island of Taiwan, it's a story worth the telling, and I'll sing it in a song. Family farm is the rock of humanity's anchor in the 21st century world war between the farmer and the banker. Great corporate bullies ride on the money train. Farmer stands to lose, the corporation stand to gain. The Youngerman saw the danger coming from a dark and angry place, and he thought of all the farmers whose lives had been displaced, and he made calls and he wrote letters. Oh, but what good did it do? Corporations never read them, nor the politicians too. The Youngerman went to walk one night. The moon was like a lantern and the stars were shining bright. There came a voice a-calling so clearly in his head. Maybe it was the ancestors. This is what it said. When God closes the door, he opens the window. When God closes the door, he opens the window. Youngrim the farmer, he made a paper box, and he folded in the corners, and he weighted it with rocks, with a little black powder and a little bit of rice. Warnings on the label, words of advice. Danger, said the paper box in writing bright and bold. Do not buy imported rice, our future can't be sold. Support the local farmers, resist the foreign trade. And he placed them in the cities where his point would sure be made. And he put them at the banks and down at the railway station. Little paper boxes with their little explanations. At the government buildings they put the bomb squad on alert, but they were only made of paper, no one ever got hurt. They called him the rice bomber, and they made a great campaign. They said he was a terrorist, and they vilified his name. Oh, but in the farming countries, when these matters were discussed, they would tip their hats and smile and say, he's one of us. When God closes the door, he opens the window. When God closes the door, he opens the window. 17 paper rice bombs, 17 times. Every one a statement, though they called them each a crime. And though they scoured through the countryside, they did not have a clue. Young Grumman decided then just what he would do. He went down to the city to give himself away. He said, I am the one you're looking for. This is your lucky day. My name is Young Grumman, he said, and he took a little bow. I did that for the farmers, like I do this for them now. Well, if you did that for the farmers, that's just what you say. But we have you in our custody, and that's where you're going to stay. And justice was a stone wall. It never shed a tear. They tried and convicted, and they gave him 7 years. 7 years for 17 little boxes of rice. What kind of mathematics could arrive at such a price? It's the kind of mathematics turns the world upside down, and it's up to us to turn it back around. When God closes the door, he opens the window. When God closes the door, he opens the window. Family farm is still the rock that holds humanity's anchor. In the 21st century world war between the farmer and the banker, great one side has the money and the other has the plow. And it's anybody's guess what happens now. I went to visit Young Grumman. They had him in Taipei. It was in the detention center. It was on a visiting day. I didn't speak his language and he didn't speak mine. There was plexiglass between us and we didn't have much time. He said you have to hold your vision and you have to hold on tight. Take pride in your accomplishments and don't give up the fight. Oh, and when the time was over and they led him away, he put his fist up in the air and I can still hear him say, when God closes the door, he opens the window. When God closes the door, he opens the window. When God closes the door, he opens the window. When God closes the door, he opens the window. My country has been stolen and I ain't lying down. I'm gonna make a lot of noise. I'm gonna spread it all around. I will not be the meek one, sit back and bite my tongue. I dare somebody to tell me not to sing this song. 'Cause these are some big words that we all learned in school. Words to build a country by or give notice to a fool. I took the liberty to rhyme them all, the easier to sing. Maybe it'll help to make the pendulum swing. 'Cause this is my declaration, your declaration too. So let's live up to it, see what we can do. Let's go see what we can do. hold these truths to be self-evident. And that means that everyone can see. That way you're all created equal. And that means that you are just like me, with certain unalienable rights. And that means that they are ours to keep, like life, liberty, and happiness. Don't it make you want to weep? Now, to secure these rights, we institute our governments. They get their powers from us, they govern by our consent. And should any one of them become destructive to these ends, it is the right of the people to alter or abolish them. Yes, this is my declaration, your declaration too. So let's live up to it. See what we can do. Yeah, let's go see what we can do. When in the course of human events, the time has finally come, beware you bandit governments, your race has almost run. These words were written more than 200 years ago. Catching up with history moves so slow, moves so slow. Governments should not be changed for light or transient cause, but when abuse and usurpations become the rule of law, it is the right, it is the duty of the people to respond. Throw off such a government and move on, move on. Yes, this is my declaration, your declaration too. So let's live up to it. See what we can do. Yes, this is my declaration, your declaration too. So let's live up to it. See what we can do. Let's go see what we can do. Thank you. I want to go sing that at a Republican picnic and see what happens. Well, I mean, you know, it's a Declaration of Independence. What are they going to do, argue with me? Ah, come on. It's got to start right. For miles and miles, beside the hills so green and underneath the sky so blue, when I was in love with you, and that's the we sing the song, and the verses they get deeper in time, and the roads we take may make our hearts break. Oh, but you have your way, and I have mine. Oh, but life goes on, and we sing the song, and the chorus gets better in time, and our voices rise as we harmonize. Oh, but you have your melody, and I have mine, in my old hometown, where there was a winding stream, where we could walk for miles and miles, beside the hills so green, and underneath the sky so blue, when I was in love with you. And that's the way the world went round, in my old hometown. That's called My Old Hometown. Oh, thanks. A little sloppy there, but that's what happens. I'm just going to do a couple more songs. Thank you very much for being here. I appreciate everybody being here. That is my tip basket right there, which augments the generous, however, in the face of inflation, possibly meager stipend with which I am compensated here this evening. And I have CDs for sale. Many of you already have them, of course, but I bet all of you have friends that don't. That's all I'm saying. Just leave it at that. Okay. Oh yeah, sorry. Oh yeah, I remember now. I wanted to do this song. I have a number of guitars. I'll just leave it at that. A number of guitars. One of them is particularly special to me, anyway. It's a 1965 Epiphone Texan. That's when Epiphone was made by Gibson, and it's a beautiful thing. It's basically a J45 with a thinner neck. And that was given to me by Chris Ramey, who's a guitar player that I knew way back in the day in California days, where I'm from. And Chris was a wonderful human being. He just, I don't know, you know how some people just like to party a lot? That was Chris. So this song is called Chris Ramey Gave Me This Guitar. And when I say this guitar, I mean that guitar. Chris Ramey gave me this guitar. We'd been friends for years and we came this far. living in a world of folk clubs and bars, songs for every season, and we sang them on the steel string guitar. Chris Ramey was a big man, and he sang a big song, and in my younger days I tagged along. He had a big life, he lived it right out loud, head and shoulders over everybody else in the crowd. He rode with the pranksters, he knew Neil Cassidy too. Janis Joplin lit a candle for him and almost rendezvous. Jesse Fuller, Margot St. James, everybody knew Chris Ramey, and he knew them all the same, all the same. Well, he could drink you under the table, he could trip you over the moon, he could tell more tales in a carny bar on a Saturday afternoon. He had a heart of gold, it was golden to the core. He'd give you the shirt off his back, and if he needed a bed, well, he'd sleep on the floor. And I lost track of Ramey, and he lost track of me. Then I heard he was selling cars down in the valley. His guitar was in the closet, strings were old and dead, but he still had all those songs in his head. In his head. I said, hey Chris, I don't know about these cars, but guitar strings call for fingers, and your fingers need guitars. And these kids out there nowadays, they seem so young, they need a master like you to show them how it's done, how it's done. Yeah, and it's done like this. Well, he was a little rusty at first, then the rust was dusted off, magic came alive, and the songs woke up like a sleeper on a rebound from a long tangential dream. Chris Ramey was back on the scene, on the scene. He got himself a good set of wheels from that used car lot. He put a PA in the trunk and he went out gigging while the gigging was hot. He got a brand new repertoire. It was a fine sight to see, and with his harmonica buddy Jimmy Durance, he made his first CD. Yes, he did. And the music was alive. He was living in the zone, and he loved those old Gibsons and Epiphones. Knew I did too. It was almost biology, so whenever he found a good one, well, he'd show it to me. He'd show it to me. Life catches up with you, no matter how fast you drive, and they say that nobody gets out of here alive. There's songs to come and singing with, songs to fly away, and he knew he'd have to sing one of those other ones someday, someday. Chris Ramey gave me this guitar when he knew the time was near. He said, go pick the one that speaks to you, Jim, and get it out of here. So I took this old slope shoulder with the sunburst top. It made bells beneath my fingers and would not let me stop, let me stop. So sing a song for laughter, sing a song for tears, sing a song for old friends who've known you all these years. Sing a song for leaving, another one for when you're gone. For life is just a melody, waiting for a song, for a song. Yeah. that's how that one goes. And I'm going to finish with something that's interesting. Hold on. One cup of coffee through the entire gig. No, God, no, I'm done. I mean, I've got one more song. I know. I'll stay right there. I remember standing out in the friend of mine's backyard in Pine Ridge in South Dakota. You know, and the wind was blowing a little bit. I think the wind always blows out there. And the thing about the wind, it struck me. I was just in the wind and feeling it. It's a long distance wind. Comes all the way from Nebraska. Comes all the way from Saskatchewan. And it's got all the grains and the dirt from hundreds of miles. That's the wind out there. And it's a beautiful thing. You have to love it. I mean, you really do. Out here we have a different thing to love. We don't have long distance wind, but we got rain. Sometimes the rain bothers me, but most of the time it doesn't. I like it. I love it, in fact. It's my friend. I figured to myself, you can tell who came here for the money by who complains about the rain. There's a lot of money in Seattle these days, you know, in the surrounding territories. When I got here, there was no money. And you heard less complaining about the weather. So I wrote this song. It's a love song to the weather. It's getting dark out there. And I'll leave you with it tonight. Thank you for being here. But when the good rains finally came, we stood out under cover. Watched the dry earth drink it up like a long lost love. We opened up our senses to let it in. Felt so good to feel that way again. And if you love the water, let it rain. Let it wash away your pain. There are reasons to explain. If you love the water, let it rain. A long time ago when the world was young, innocent life beneath the summery sun, desert flowers and the wild plantain, waiting for the weather to bring the rain. And if you love the water, let it rain. Let it wash away your pain. There are reasons to explain. If you love the water, let it rain. Time is such a fleeting thing, you know, it comes and it goes. It ebbs and it flows, waterfalls and rainbows. If you love the water, let it rain, oh let it rain. Let it wash away your pain. There are reasons to explain. If you love the water, let it rain. There was a time we kept ourselves apart, surrounded by the dryness in our hearts. Life is a natural mystery, they say. So I guess we'll just let nature have its way. And if you love the water, let it rain. Let it wash away your pain. There are reasons to explain. If you love the water, if you love the water, let it rain. There you go. Thank you.